This is a borrowed chainsaw, 36-inch bar. We had to cut down a big oak tree in the yard, and we did it with an 18-inch bar, but that was not big enough. We got it down, but we are very fortunate that we did not get killed and that it fell right where we wanted it to fall. And after we got it down, I asked some friends if they had big chainsaws. I was looking for something bigger than an 18-inch, and one of my friends had talked to somebody that he knew, and he had this 36-inch Husqvarna, and it's big enough. The tree is 37 inches in diameter. So we borrowed this, and we've been using it to see some of the stuff that we've been cutting up with it. This thing weighs about 35 pounds, I figure. It is a monster to handle. When it's sharp, it cuts well. It's got a good, strong motor on it, but it will wear you out. So I needed to resharpen it. I have to start at a certain spot so that I know that when I've sharpened the teeth. So it looks like I'm going to do it from just right here. Of course, this wears off whenever I use the chainsaw, so I have to keep reapplying it. And so I just use this round file to sharpen the teeth, and this guide that sits on top gives me a set for the angle, because each tooth cuts at an angle. This is it right here. In fact, I may just go ahead and do this without the guide on it. And these teeth have one on each side, left and right, and they have a little hook. You sharpen these so that they've got a little hook, and they come through, and this cuts off some of the wood, and this cuts off some of the wood, and the whole thing's going around. And I think I might do better with the guide, just to give me something to hold on to. So put the file on there, give it a few strokes. I'm watching for messed up teeth. I don't know that I've hit anything of a metal nature or rock or anything other than just oak wood, but I'm watching for messed up teeth that might need more attention than just a few strokes of the file on the chain. I have a sense of what it takes to sharpen metal, and the angle and the type of cutting that the chainsaw does needs to be taken into consideration. But once I understand the basics and I know how to sharpen, I feel very comfortable sharpening this. I don't know that I do the best job in the world. I have tried to use a rotary sharpener, just some stones and a Dremel motor, but I feel more in control, more muscle memory when I'm using the file. I feel like I can pay attention a little bit better, feel more in control, and I find that it really doesn't take that long to do this. Although this is one seriously big chainsaw chain. I don't know if you sharpen chainsaw chains and if you do it differently. I honestly haven't tried the motorized wall-mounted or bench-mounted sharpeners that some companies make. I've seen some reviews on them, seen plenty of guys talk about they just prefer to use a file. And you have to admit that if you learn how to use a file to sharpen this, when you're away from the shop and away from electricity, all you need is a shoulder and an elbow and a file. Something easy to carry with you to sharpen. So I do all one side like this. That doesn't look good. Let's see what we got here. I do one side because of the angle. And we're back where I started. These things sticking up in front of each of the teeth is, some people call them rakers, they're depth gauges. And if this sits too high, this knife behind it, this cutting tooth, can't dig into the wood. So this needs to be low enough so that this can take a chunk of wood. And they make a depth gauge like this, and if that depth gauge is sticking up, you file it down to get it low enough so that it's not proud, it's not sticking up high. And all these feel good, they're not sticking up high, because you want this to be low enough for that to take a bite. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe.